Hello friends, welcome to the Daily Talk with Masego. I am your host, Masego. Let us get comfortable. Grab your tea, grab your snack, and let us dive into today's show. Enjoy. Today's show is all about the stereotypes that are attached to a mother who has a child but is not married. Ever heard of the term baby mama? What comes into your mind when you hear of that term? Ever heard somebody calling somebody else a baby mama? In what context were they calling them a baby mama? And what was the tone of the person who used the term baby mama? The reason I'm asking this is because in today's society, there are so many stereotypes, so many stereotypes that are attached to what is simply considered out of the norms of the society. And these norms that have been created by society can stem from religious beliefs, they can stem from cultural beliefs, and with these beliefs, you are expected as a person to follow them. And if you don't, then you find yourself on the sidelines. You find yourself being shamed sometimes. Let us get into today's topic. Today we are talking about the term baby mama, the stereotypes that are attached to that term. So, when doing my research, I went into our little friend Google and I googled the term baby mama to see what would come up. And the first definition that I got was that of a Google definition. And it was a very, very simple definition which described a baby mama as the mother of a child, especially one who is either a wife or a current partner of a man. However, when I scrolled a little bit down, I came across the Urban Dictionary's explanation or definition of what a baby mama is. And I will just say that I was shocked to read some of the things that have been written there. I was shocked to see how women are labeled, to see how women are perceived if they have a child. However, they're not married. According to the Urban Dictionary, baby mama is a term that is used to define an unmarried woman who has a child, and most of the time the term is used when the relationship was simply sexual and it resulted in the woman conceiving a child. So with this term, there is usually negative connotations that are attached to it, and usually baby mama is portrayed to be seen as a desperate, gold-digging, emotionally starved, shady woman who has a baby out of spite or to keep a man. I am going to say that again. A baby mama is portrayed or is seen as a desperate, gold-digging, emotionally starved, shady woman who had a baby out of spite or to keep a man. Ladies, let us get into this. If you are listening and you are a single mother and your child was conceived out of wedlock, how does this definition make you feel? Do you agree with this definition? Do you agree with this perception? Was that baby created because you were spiteful and you wanted to keep a man? And I bet you that 99.9% of women will say no. I'm not naive of the fact that not everyone is like that. I am not naive of the fact that not everyone thinks the same. I find this term to be very disrespectful. I find this term to be very, very controversial to a very, very, very large extent. Because come to think of it, you are a mother. You are a mother. The term baby mama, to a certain extent, has a condescending tone. And the word itself, it comes with so many expectations, negative expectations, might I add. You are expected to be this wretched woman. You are expected to be this woman of the streets, some may say. But not every woman who has a child out of wedlock is spiteful, angry, unreasonable, ridiculous. That is not the case. And this makes me question, does this baby mama drama really exist? Does it really exist? Or are we as a society refusing to take responsibility of our perceptions, of the stereotypes? Are we such a society that craves labels so much that we would come up with such disrespectful phrases, disrespectful words that are pinned on a woman? Engage with me, ladies. Do you think that this baby mama drama is as is portrayed in movies, in TV shows? Do we think that it really exists? Or is this just another way of bringing a woman down? So as I was doing my research, I came to find that the term baby mama originated in the Jamaican Creole. So originally this term was used mostly by fathers. So they would use this term to describe the mothers of their children. All right? And thereafter, the term just spread and it spread and it spread and it spread. And as it spread, the term was now used out of context. It was now used out of context. Like I said in the beginning, the term now has so much negativity that is attached to it. It has so much negative connotations attached to it. The term has since made its way into mainstream media, and we see it being used so much on social media, so much in movies, so much in the music industry. And so we can see that the entertainment industry is perpetuating and it is actually profiting from this negative stereotype of a single mother. Because in the music, TV, these single mothers are usually subjected to ridicule, condemnation, and this just shows us that this is how they see a woman who is not married, a single parent. And when I bring it to the context of South Africa has a lot. I would even say that the large majority of households in South Africa are run by single parents. Most of us were raised by single parents, and most of us did not see the behaviors that are portrayed. It is really a shame that we are such a society that is just starving for labels, that we would even profit and actually perpetuate such negative stereotypes about single parents and about single mothers. So I have invited two ladies who are single parents to give just their understanding of this term and how they have dealt with it. So here is their take on this topic. The first question that I would like you to answer for me is, what is your understanding of a baby mama?
Hello, Masego. I understand a baby mama to be the biological mother of a child. That's my understanding of what a baby mama is.
Okay, hi Masego. This is Azile. Thank you so much for giving me the platform and actually engaging my mind on this topic. I'd like to dismiss the term baby mama first of all, because when I think of baby mama, I always think that there's a certain sound of disrespect, or as in there's a stereotype of how a baby mama should be. So I would always relate to a person being called the mother of my child rather than a baby mama. But for what it's worth, since you're asking me what a baby mama is, I would like to say somebody who you have a child with, the mother of your child.
The direct translation of a baby mama is a mother of a child, but today in the society that we live in, we find ourselves that that translation has now been switched, and there are certain negative connotations that are attached to that term baby mama. And what I want to know from you is, do you think that it is fair that only single mothers are referred to as baby mamas as compared to mothers who have children that are born in a marriage? What is your take on that?
Obviously, it will go back to my original argument whereby people will automatically blame the girl for or the female for having the child out of wedlock. The female will always be seen as the one who didn't do enough to be married by the guy, and society will always see the female to always want to pursue the baby daddy, because naturally he's the one who's supposed to marry he's the one who's supposed to marry the female. So it is a stereotype, because first of all, having a baby out of wedlock will always be seen in society as a loose girl, a girl who doesn't have morals, a girl who doesn't respect herself, of which that is not the case. So that's why they always labeled as baby mamas. We're always seen as those people who are ill-disciplined, ill-mannered, and because we're bitter about not being married by our baby daddies, then we'll do everything we can to make their lives difficult. Of which I think it needs to be corrected, because we now live in a different society, and things are totally different from the way it was back then. I mean, it's so selfish to think that the only way you can have a baby is having a baby when you're only married. What about people who don't get married and who actually want kids? And there's so many good parents who are actually good parents without being married. So it'll always go back to society and how society perceives the female person when they actually do have a child out of wedlock, rather than also judging the male counterpart. So we're seen as baby mamas because we're seen as bitter people who didn't get married by our partners because there's something wrong with us. So that's why they'll always see us as rude, disrespectful, and hood rats, because we couldn't wait to be married to have kids. It's how society is, unfortunately. I want us to change that mindset, but I think that's why a person will always be labeled as a baby mama when they're not married, rather than a female who has a baby in Chadwin. Yeah, you're seen as loose, you're seen as disrespectful, so that's why they give you labels before they actually know the type of parent you are.
I feel that it's absolutely unfair that only single mothers are subjected to this term baby mama. And I just feel like ultimately it's part of society's agenda to shame women who have had their children outside of marriages, which is insane, because that is not the issue here. You know, the problem is these men that have left the women to have these children or raise these children on their own. And it really takes away from the struggles that single mothers are constantly faced with in raising these children on their own. So I really believe that it's unfair. It's really, really, really wrong. It's unacceptable.
When it comes to the perpetuation of the stereotypes of a baby mama, do you think that it's more of the male that is pushing the stereotype, or is it the female side? Are we, the women, responsible for the perpetuation of this stereotype of a baby mama?
Okay, I'd like to think, within regards to the stereotype of the whole baby mama issue, I don't want to solely blame it on the male side. I think it comes from both parties, because immediately when somebody has a child with a person when they're not married, somebody will always think that they will probably have discrepancies or differences, and then you're always the crazy girl, hence you didn't get married. So I'd like to think it comes from both sides, because it's a taboo as is to have a baby with somebody when you're not married. So before actually finding out why a certain person acts a certain way, there's always that stereotype that, okay, she's a baby mama, that's why she's acting like this. So I would like to say it comes more from the female, both actually, not even the female perspective, both, because people who don't have kids don't really understand the dynamics which goes into parenting. And then sometimes when you want that other party to be present or participative, then it's always seen to be as, oh no, she's overreacting because they're not together anymore and she's the baby mama, and which will always come from both sides. I'm not saying solely that all baby mamas or women who are single mothers are good towards their partners. Some are very unreasonable, and yes, they do want to be in a relationship with their partners, hence they do everything they can to try and prevent them from seeing their kids. But in most cases, it's just a stereotype which is just there from both parties because of failure of understanding, basically.
Both men and women are responsible for the perpetuation of these stereotypes. And in my opinion, it's all owed to a lack of respect for single mothers. The men are mostly responsible because they're the ones who have relationships with these women that are single mothers. And in their disrespecting these single mothers, they are allowing for other women as well to be disrespectful to single mothers. And on the part of women, it's very unfortunate because it's as though they're forgetting that they too are not immune to being single mothers. You know, they too can be exposed to such disrespect. So to answer your question, I feel like men are mostly responsible, but I feel like, you know, men and women are both responsible, but men are mostly responsible.
Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were being referred to as the stereotypical baby mama? And how did you react to that situation, if you've ever experienced that?
Absolutely, yes. I have been referred to as a typical baby mama. And my response initially, I was really shocked and disappointed, you know. So I would constantly try and argue with these people that were making all of these references, because they were not a true reflection of who I am. But over time, you realize that it's pointless because it really doesn't matter what anybody else calls you. What matters is who you really are. So I ignore these references now.
Well, I've never gotten that from anybody else or my baby daddy's friends or their family. I've never gotten that. However, I did get that from the father of my child. Long story for another day. Obviously, it will go back to the argument of things didn't end well, and because things didn't end well, to him it's more about the feelings and the emotions of how he feels about me rather than the kind of parent I am. So I do think he labels me as a baby mama because there's a certain tone of disrespect from his side on how he perceives me on how he sees me. But in general, from other people, I've never gotten that label because I'd like to think I'm a very, 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 very chilled baby mama. But how did I deal with it? Well, how am I dealing with it? I'm not gonna try and convince him and his perspective and ideas of how he feels about me and what he thinks about me, because I think it's deep rooted and it's something that he purely believes. So I won't waste my time trying to convince him that I'm not actually a baby mama. I'm the mother of his child and I'm a damn good mother. It's his own choice. For what it's worth, I don't make it difficult for him to see the child. If he wants to be participative in this child's life, he's got all the access, but he's the one who chooses not to be part of it. So within regards to me on how to deal with it, it's his own baby, man. I mean, it's not like because of that. So yeah, that's about it.
And lastly, what advice would you give to women, single women especially, who are out there raising their children on their own, whether they have the help of the father or not? What would you say to those women who find themselves being labeled the stereotypical baby mama?
My advice to single mothers out there would be to reject these labels and also teach their children to reject these labels. Do not shy away from having these conversations with your children, because they will be faced with the reality of being labeled, and just celebrate your children and make them feel celebrated, and instill in them that they are no less than children who are born in marriages. Most importantly, teach your children to be mindful, not to become part of the problem. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, my advice to single women, single mothers, whether you're getting help from your baby daddy or not, is it will always be about the child. The child will always take precedence in everything. And unfortunately, the society we live in, people will always have opinions and ideas on how everything should be. My main advice is to focus on your child and try and be the best parent you can for your child. And I would like to say that I'm not saying all single baby mothers are better, or they look. We've got a lot of issues with the people we had children with, and sometimes, in most cases, those things would not end in a good way. So I would like to say to single mothers, don't let those personal relationship issues which happened between you guys, for you guys not to be together, affect giving the other party a chance to be a parent as well. So I'd like to say we need to grow up and mature and put our differences and problems aside, and always put the child as like the top priority, more than anything, more than our feelings, and give each other the chance to both have a chance to parent. I mean, give your children the best. I mean, if the father wants to be there, let them be there. If they don't, then fine. But when they actually do decide they want to be there, don't block them. Obviously, when from your side, you need to give your baby the best that you can, whether the father is around or not. And yeah, man, we're strong. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not tainted. We are not half of a women because we had kids out of wedlock. We are strong, we're powerful, and there's nothing wrong with us. And yeah, we should just keep on trying our best to give the best for our children. And yes, again and again and again, most of our relationships didn't end in a good way, but we need to be mature and always put our children first, so that they can have the luxury of having both parents around. Whether you get along with them or not, put that aside and let your kid gets the best in life. So yeah, that's all I have to say, and I hope eventually, as time goes on by, that stereotype will end, because the era of these new baby mamas, which is us, we work hard, we make our own money, and if you want to be part of the baby, hey, it's your choice. If you don't, hey, that's also your choice. I'm not gonna go chasing you for you to take part in your responsibility, but it is, however, my responsibility to let you be part of the child's life if you're willing, and not hold personal grudges. So yeah.
Ladies, you are not less of a woman because you had a baby out of wedlock. You're a queen in your own right. So fix your crown, queen. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.